I am Thom Abraham, and glad that you are with us for the next hour, 2.5 hours or so, 2 hours and change maybe. Alabama and Vanderbilt have been featured this morning. You just heard Clark Lea's opening comments as well. Pretty impressive, a little bit canned. I mean, you could tell that it was canned. He had points that he wanted to make, and he was going to make those points, and that was there. So he's saying all of the right things, but it's not. It's normal to be skeptical when it comes to Vanderbilt because it's Vanderbilt. I was in that town for 8 years, and I know what it's like. I was on the Vanderbilt pregame and during the James Franklin days and everything else. So I know how difficult it is to buy in there at Vanderbilt, but hopefully for Clark Lea's sake and the Vandy fans' sake, they can get something going, and so they are being featured this morning. But the big attraction, obviously, is the University of Alabama. Nick Saban, the Heisman Trophy winner, Bryce Young, Will Anderson, who could have been the Heisman Trophy winner, is the best defensive player, if not the best football player in the country. Jordan Battle, all here, and it has been an active morning already. Now, here's the deal. This is that day, and we're going to have a lot of that for you. We've got Nick Saban. You heard him live this morning during the drive. If you missed that, we're likely going to have that a little bit later on in the show. But Nick Saban was also in the electronic room back about a half an hour ago or so. You have not heard any of that yet, and we're going to have that for you coming up here at the top of the hour, so be ready for that as well. Now, we also don't know who's going to fall out when. The Alabama players that have not already been on our air, Will Anderson was on the drive this morning. As I said, you'll hear that later on. Jordan Battle and Bryce Young are scheduled to come by the set at some particular point in time. It may or may not happen, so we'll see if that happens. And if it does, we'll drop out of whatever we're doing and make sure that we get to that. So this is that kind of a day for you. We also have Tony Barnhart scheduled today. He will be joining us at the top of the 11 o'clock hour, and it's always great when you can talk to Mr. College football. There's guys that call themselves the king of college football, and then there's guys that call themselves Bill King. I don't know. And then there's guys but there's only one Mr. Football, right? There's only one Mr. Football, and that would be Tony Barnhart, and he's coming up on the radio show today. So there's a lot of different things that are going to fall out, so we'll just see how all of that works. Now, for those of you that were looking for fireworks from Nick Saban, did not develop. It did not develop. In fact, it was 21 minutes in before a question was raised about NIL, and it came from the Wall Street Journal, and he handled it with his stock answer. And he talked about, how he's all for the kids making money on name, image, and likeness, and so on and so forth. We'll get into some of that, and you'll hear some of that. His second last question was from Glenn Guillebeau. I can't ever say his name. Anyway, Glenn asked him about conference expansion. The second last question. And he deflected that, again, with his stock answer about hypothetical questions. Now, he was asked about Jimbo Fisher in electronic media. You'll hear that coming up off of the top of the hour here. Now, if we can get the phone lines open, we will. You can call the show at 256-576-4977. I'm not taking calls about the Home Run Derby last night. Don't ask me about Home Run Derby last night. We watched Home Run Derby. The whole crew sat in the WZZN Airbnb VRBO house, wherever we got this house from. The whole crew was there watching Home Run Derby last night. We watched it. It was Juan Soto, the two young guys. The one guy turned down $450 million, and the other guy is a stud from the Seattle Mariners. So we watched it, okay? That's all I'm going to tell you about that. We watched it. I don't even know if we're going to get to watch the All-Star game tonight. I don't think that the TV that we have there gets Fox, local. I don't think we can get local stations. We probably aren't even watching the All-Star game. We might have to sit there and play cards. We're probably going to sit there and play Skip-Bo or something. I don't know what we're going to be doing. We're going to play Go Fish or play golf with the card game. I don't know. We'll see. But we may get the phone lines open up. Your phone number, of course, is 256-576-4977. You can text the show. I'm always taking the text. The text window is always open no matter where I'm at. All right, the text window is open. I'll read those on the air. 732-982-7469. 732-9-TA-SHOW. It's a great way to communicate with us. My personal Twitter feed is at Thom Abraham Show. The station's feed is at 97.7 ESPN. There's tons of material there from here at SEC Media Days. You can watch the show on Facebook and on Twitter at 97.7 ESPN. You can watch it on Twitch and YouTube at our YouTube channel at WZZN TV. So check that out as well. Follow on Twitch, like and subscribe on the YouTube, and get the notifications. Go to 977ESPN.com and get links to all of that stuff. We've got all kinds of video streaming at the Facebook page, everywhere. So you need to check out that stuff early and often. And while you're at it, get the app. Because if you got the app, you'll get the links to Zone 2, Zone 3, Zone 4, and as we introduced yesterday, the Blitz as well, which is scheduled to launch on Monday with our new afternoon Blitz programming on there. It's our new streaming sports radio station, the Blitz, and it'll complement everything that we're doing on the Zone. When we have local programming on the Zone, you're going to hear national programming on the Blitz. When we have, national programming on the Zone, you'll hear local programming on the Blitz. So it'll be something for everybody. But, it's good to have the app. Now, the Blitz will have its own app soon, all right? And then you'll be able to have your Blitz app in your pocket as well. So stay tuned for all of that stuff as well. Back in the little glass booth with the slanted ceiling, playing the Platters that matter and the Stacks of Wax, keeping us on the air, doing a phenomenal job with all of the audio and video and everything that's being sent his way. It's the one and only DJ Grizzy Grizz. Hey, Grizzlicious, did I surprise you a little bit there? Is that what happened? I surprised you a little bit? So you got the Bandy Man back there with you, right? He's helping you out. This is my image. Because I can't see you like I normally can. My image in my mind is that you're sitting there and you're like mission control, right? You got the hands going in every different direction. Yeah, and then the Bandy Man has got like a wet washcloth, and he's like dabbing at your forehead and stuff like that. He's like this, just keeping you. He's like keeping you cool. He's bringing you drinks, and he is doing stuff like that. He's keeping you in snacks. Is that what the Bandy Man is doing right now? You kind of keep, yeah. Your mouthpiece, that kind of stuff. Watched every single pitch. We watched every single pitch of the home run derby. We saw it all. We watched it all. We saw the whole thing. Because we don't have a lot of other channel options on the TV. But, no, we watched it all. And John didn't watch it all. Because we sent him after he had to go to the Walmart to get frozen pizza. That's what he's doing. Him and the Bandy Man, he's like doing what, if Bandy Man was here, that's what he'd be doing. He'd be running around, he'd be getting stuff and doing things like that. And then he got lost. And he's like, let me take the truck. I gotta go to the Walmarts. And he goes to the Walmart, and then he texts me, and I'm like, watch this. He calls. He don't even know where the hell we're at. He doesn't have the address. He doesn't know where we're at. And sure enough, he is out there, and he was basically he was lost. But he was lost. No, you were lost.
Listen to me right now.
You were lost.
I didn't.
We couldn't turn the oven on.
Nobody could turn the oven on.
We had to send Steve down into the basement of the house, the $2 million house. We got to send Steve into the basement to throw a breaker switch. And then Drew, who the hell knew where Drew? Drew disappeared into his room for like an hour, and and the door was locked, and I didn't know what, but there was like weird sounds coming out of there. So I don't know what the heck was going on in there. And I hit all of Drew's drinks. He got all upset because I hit his drinks. He has his special drinks, and you were lost.
I wasn't lost.
You
all
were
right?
lost.
Atlanta's a crazy place. All right, Atlanta's a crazy place. That's all I got to say.
You were lost.
No. I won't accept that.
He was lost. So anyway, all of that's going on. All right, when we come back, the Nick Saban that you didn't hear yet, we'll share that with you next right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. So And welcome back. Tom Abraham Show on location at SEC Media Days. We are, by the way, the only sports talk radio station from North Alabama that is here at SEC Media Days. And that goes from the Mississippi state line to the Georgia state line. I mean, this is it right here, right now. This is the only radio station in North Alabama from the Mississippi state line clear all the way over to the Georgia state line that is here on location here for you to make sure that you get all the coverage that you need from SEC Media Days. All right, earlier the activities began with Nick Saban in the main breakout room. We'll have that for you a little bit later on. You heard that live during the drive, and it was a really funny thing that happened during that. There were no real explosive comments made by Nick Saban during that, but there was a kind of a funny thing that did happen during that, and we'll share that with you a little bit later on. But from that room, Nick Saban then headed right over to the electronic media room, which is strictly a Q&A type thing, and it's a much looser atmosphere, if you will. There's probably 50, 80, 100 people at the most in that room, as opposed to the several hundred that are in the main room, when he had his first statements made. This was Nick Saban. This is straight Q&A with no opening statement. This was Nick Saban a little bit earlier in the electronic media room. And that was Nick Saban in the electronic room, so you had not heard that yet, and that's the first time that you get to hear that there. All right, we're going to get a break in here. When we come back, Wes Neighbors is in the house. Maybe we'll go a little center to center. I don't know that he got to hear what Nick Saban said earlier. I want to share some of the highlights and get instant reaction from Wes Neighbors. So we'll see how that works out as well. And we'll see what's going to happen with, we're still anticipating Bryce Young, Jordan Battle could be coming by. They're scheduled to come by, but you know how those things are. So that may or may not happen. But in the meantime, we want to stay light on our feet. And what better way to stay nimble than with the very nimble Wes Neighbors and Thom Abraham. So we'll do that next right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Deal to it. Welcome back, Thom Abraham Show, College Football Hall of Fame, SEC Media Days. Today's show brought to you by TOC. The Orthopedic Center has been supporting this show for over 15 years, and they've been around the Tennessee Valley for over 20 years, and you can find them everywhere throughout the valley, up in Fayetteville, over in Athens, and, of course, downtown, the beautiful location there, Madison. Whenever you need them, they're there. It's the Orthopedic Center. Speaking of needing them and being there, West Neighbors as well just slid into our set. How you doing, boss?
Doing great.
Yeah,
doing great. Great to be here. What a setup!
It is. It's neat. It's cool where we are right now. From a functionality standpoint, I think Hoover. I missed the escalator. Go upstairs, come downstairs. Go upstairs, come down. There was a convenience to all of that. We're really spread out, over to the hotel where the Omni, where the breakout rooms are and things like that. So, it's a little bit clunky, but it is a beautiful place to be. And how ironic for our set to be set up right next to the Oklahoma-Texas, rivalry deal right here. And, of course, in a couple of years, that'll be an SEC rivalry.
Right. And looking at the history –
yeah.
1984, Texas was number 1, Oklahoma number 2.
Crazy stuff.
Back when I played.
Had you been in this part of the? Had you toured it? So you've toured the hall.
Yeah. So I
stuff.
told the story last night on the first time I came here.
Right.
I went to the room where.
The atrium upstairs.
Yeah. Where they have all the pictures of the former players that are in the Hall of Fame, and there, right when I walked in. Because you got to look them up. There's so many now.
Right.
And right there when I walked in, is my dad looking right at me. First picture, kind of, I go, oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
And I found out later the reason he was up is one of my friends I played with from New York City, he was in Atlanta, came to the Hall of Fame just by himself to see it while he had some time and was looking up my dad and see the picture.
Oh, so that's why it was up.
I ran into him later. Anyway, that was why it was up.
That is very interesting stuff.
Which was very soothing.
Yeah, that is really, really cool. All right, so Nick Saban earlier today, he opened the day with his comments down in the main room. And he talked about a number of things. There wasn't the fireworks. If people were expecting that there was going to be some big, commentary, it was 23 minutes in before somebody even asked a question about NIL, and it was
an awful question.
It was a reporter from the Wall Street Journal. Yeah.
Why he's against it?
Yeah. Well, he's not against it.
Well, I know it. But that's why it was such a bad question. She obviously had not been listening to anything he's been saying.
Well, the comments that he had made, so I think
do your homework.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. I mean, that's what everybody glommed onto the, they bought their entire class comment, and they didn't really listen to the whole 7-minute deal, which he said, which made a lot of sense.
To the whole 7-minute deal, the rest of his commentary is what every coach I've interviewed, every player I've interviewed, says it should be about the current players. This is not supposed to be a recruiting tool.
Right.
And you're not supposed to get offers to go to schools, and that's what's happening. It's different. It's not what it was designed to do. The Olympic model of the way they got paid is where it was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And this goes back to the NCAA not doing their job for 10 years. And now it's a mess, and I think it's good.
Because they had to throw their arms in the air, right? Once the government or once the Supreme Court made their ruling, because the NCAA didn't take care of business up until this point, they were then it was jammed down their throat by the federal government, and now, as Commissioner Sankey said in his opening remarks yesterday. We have got all these different states with different rules. I mean, it's a mess. We need some sort of national and how do you get a Congress to deal with this when there's a war and and there's oil and inflation?
It's important. This is absolutely important. There's a lot of money involved.
Yeah.
For the schools and for the. I think they'll do something because it's the right thing to do, and it's not that hard.
Yeah,
they can.
But it might not happen in this kind. People say, "Why don't they deal with it right now?" Well,
I think in the next 2 weeks you'll see an announcement.
That'd be great if there was.
That they're going to be dealing with this and try to get to meet with the college, not necessarily the athletic directors, but the commissioners. And I've heard word of it, and it's going to be interesting to see.
Well, and here's another thing too. When you think about it. Lane Kiffin made an interesting comment. The coaches are not supposed to be any part of this. They're not supposed to be involved in any way, shape, or form. And Kiffin was very open about the things that he was saying yesterday. He said, I know that this isn't something we're supposed to say, but I'm going to tell you right now, how can a coach not be involved in this? Because, and he made a great point. How does the booster know who to give money to? How does the booster really know who the player is that they really need to get to the school? How does the booster know who they're going to? Because then does the booster want that kid played?
They're not supposed to be paying recruits anyway.
Yeah, but I mean to promise them, to say to a recruit even.
You're not supposed to promise them anything.
Right. Right, it's supposed to be a player is at the school. Oh, by the way, we'd like you to come to our car dealership, and we'll pay you $250 an hour to do a 2-hour Saturday afternoon appearance. And instead, what's happening is they're telling 18 and 17-year-old kids, if you come to the school, we're going to get you this money from a car dealership. And then the coach is like, you know what? I don't. What if the kid doesn't play? Is the booster going to walk in and say, hey, we're paying that kid. You need to play him?
No, well, I mean, it
gets out of control. Yeah,
well,
but I mean,
it's some schools that happen. I know one school won,
but
really all schools. I mean, so there's none of this is supposed to be happening. It was not intended,
right?
And I think they'll fix it.
Yeah, hopefully they will.
I don't think they'll change NIL. I think they'll change NIL. They'll change recruiting. NIL,
right? They'll change how
should have been done a long time ago.
Right.
Name, image, and likeness. Well, what it is really, if you're a player and somebody wants to pay you to do a commercial for them,
or to come down to the mall and sign helmets for 4 hours,
right? That should have never.
Here's $800.
There's no difference in that, though.
Right.
Really. That's just a live read, right?
Yeah. Right. Or. Now with social media, so many of these players have huge followings. If they want you to talk about Milo's sweet tea on your social media thing and pay you for that, that's fine. But that's for existing players who are benefiting from their name, image, and likeness. Not handing a kid. There's a kid driving around. There's a recruit driving around in Austin at the University of Texas driving a Lamborghini. He's driving a 300. How many Lamborghinis are going to be sold, do you think, because that kid's driving a Lamborghini around Austin, Texas? Come on. But they gave him a $400,000 Lamborghini to go there.
Yeah, so there you go.
Everybody knows it.
Let me ask you a question. When you get a $400,000 Lamborghini, who's going to pay the taxes?
Probably the place that gave it to you.
Well, then you're going to have to pay more than that.
Yeah.
Then you got to pay taxes on that.
Yeah. Unless it's a dealer car or something, they got dealer tags on it, or it's a lease. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how the legalities of it work, and nor do these kids.
But still, you have to pay the taxes on it.
Right.
Even if it's leased, you won't have to pay as much tax. Better way to do it, but you still got to pay the taxes because it's whatever the fair market value.
Right.
Even if it's a loaner, it's an inducement. He's getting.
So what am I supposed to do with the Bassmaster Radio Phoenix bass boat that is owned by that is owned by Phoenix? My boat that I run is a Phoenix. It's owned by Phoenix. They're just basically, they give it to me, but it's still owned by them.
Well,
maybe I'm supposed to.
Hopefully, your local IRS agent's
not listening. Yeah, that's hopefully.
You ought to be claiming that.
Yeah,
I know you are.
I'm sure I am. I'm sure I'll have to check with my guy. I'm sure I am. Wes Neighbors in here with us. This was something that, away from NIL and conference expansion, I thought this was something that was very interesting that Nick Saban said, and you have been an Alabama resident your entire life, and this is something that I would think that you know an awful lot about, but I thought it was fascinating. A young man that was asked a question about HBCUs and the fact that some of the schools are playing different schools. So Notre Dame's playing Tennessee State or something like that. And Nick Saban, was asked about playing, maybe Alabama A&M or Alabama State, something like that.
I thought he avoided the question very well.
Oh, no, I thought he said very clearly he was an advocate for playing in-state schools, which would go, to me, if he's an advocate for playing in-state schools, a lot of people have always asked, they never play Troy, they never play Jacksonville State like Auburn did, they never play UAB. We know what the issue always was about playing UAB. But if Nick Saban is an advocate for playing in-state schools, why isn't Alabama playing any of these other smaller schools?
Nick Saban doesn't make the schedule.
Exactly. But why?
So he can be the advocate all he wants. He wanted a 9-game schedule in the Southeastern Conference. He didn't get that either.
Actually, like a 10, I think. I mean, he'd be happy with 10. But why do you think, in this day and age, we know why with the UAB coming, but why is it other, Auburn plays some of the in-state schools. Why?
So I think it's one thing you don't pay the lower schools because they don't really count. And if you get into a deal where you have one less victory,
Right.
then maybe to get into a bowl, not a bowl game.
But Troy, Jacksonville State, UAB, those are all, group of 5. You get
just recently, group of 5.
Yeah.
Troy's been a while. I mean, I wouldn't be playing. I think Nick Saban wants to play Oregon, Oklahoma, and Texas, before they got in the SEC. I don't think he wants to play the games that nobody wants to come to, and that's what those are.
Yeah.
I mean, my show last night was kind of about these schools. I'm for playing. I'm not for playing lower division schools.
Meaning FCS.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're Division I. I love the 3 games that they play personally because it helps those teams.
I like 2.
Yeah.
Well, I like 2.
Yeah,
play 2 group of 5, 2. I mean, because then it's like split the season. Play 1 at the beginning, 1 in the middle. It's a JV game, basically. Play 2 of those.
It provides to me. To me, it's a fact. Without those games, if they go to 2 games, there will be schools that drop football.
This is my take on that. Pay them anyway. I think that wait a minute. I think the Power 5. I think there's a pool of the money that the Power 5 schools make. Nobody wants to go to that game.
Well, they do. They show up. They don't all. There's not sold out. I mean, the tickets are all sold out anyway at Alabama anyway.
Yeah.
But my point for that, Tom, is how you going to everything they talk about when it comes to athletic departments. All they talk about is revenue.
Yeah.
Nobody talks about the profit. What's the profit? Nobody ever talks about that.
Yeah, the assumption is we're talking about what the net revenue would be. But I'm just saying, why
I'm
couldn't
saying
you bring Florida State into Tuscaloosa, and a portion of that money goes to, Louisiana Lafayette
you
or
sound
something?
a lot like a communist country.
Well, a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's the
What do
same
you
thing.
mean a little bit?
It's the same thing as playing them.
No, it isn't.
Why?
Yeah, because you're getting something for it.
But you would get. I'm saying is that should football in general, should there be a little bit of socialism in football when it comes to the Power 5 supporting some of the Group of 5 schools?
Listen, I'm for no, absolutely not. Well, first of all, they don't have the money to do it, and anybody thinks they do is wrong. Most of the money that these schools get are from their boosters.
But do you think
to build these things is all given to them?
I understand that, but it's still the point is you got to play Louisiana Lafayette to give them a check. You got to play them. You can't play somebody else and give them the check and give them the money or some portion.
But then both teams would suffer because the money's coming from the game.
Yeah.
So you're going to take.
Yeah, but I'm saying from that game.
Absolutely, that's not. No, that's Venezuela.
I think 3's too many. I think they're stealing money from the fans. I mean, when you look at the schedule this year for Alabama,
how are you stealing the money from the fans?
Because you're making the fans play. Their fans are playing a huge amount of money to go to the Utah State game, New Mexico State game.
They're doing it by free will. There's nobody making them do anything.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. If you want to go to the Texas A&M game, you got to go to the Utah State game, and you got to go to the New Mexico State game, so you can see one decent.
I thought you were Italian. You were talking more like a Russian.
All right, so something else that was talked about this morning. They talked about the rules. There are several rule changes that are kind of interesting, and I thought this was one of them. Steve Shaw is now the national.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
he's over the country.
Time.
He's going to have the ability on Monday to rescind a disqualification in a carryover, a second half personal foul that carries a disqualification for the first half of the next game.
Yeah.
He can look at that tape on Monday and say, He can. It's going to come to the national office.
Oh, I can't wait
Steve
to
Shaw's
interview
going to
him
make
after
that.
this.
Yeah, Steve Shaw's going to make the decision as to whether or not that really rises to the level of taking not going to get, because that's huge.
Well, see, I think they ought to give it to me. I think I ought to be my absolutely. Yeah. I think I'll be on my lazy chair on the big games.
Yeah.
And just hit a button. Hey, that wasn't because you can tell intent. When you've played football and watched football, you can tell intent.
Yeah.
And to me, when a guy comes, a running back comes screaming through a hole, going as fast as he can, and you have a guy now, if he ducks his head, is one thing. If he hits him in the helmet, come on.
Yeah.
Where's he supposed to?
That's why you got helmet on.
Yeah. I mean,
protect you. Yeah.
Exactly. So but Receivers, I get because you can really hurt those.
Except
guys.
for when they're the ones I don't like is that you see the receiver lose his footing a little bit, and they end up face to face, not even a rolling of the helmet.
Exactly.
End up face to face, and it's like,
goes,
where's he going to hit him? In a split second, that guy lost his footing.
Man, it's so
and
fast. Nobody knows how fast it is. So what I say is it's all about intent, and I get that. Listen, I was against all these rules. I've kind of changed my mind. I think they have helped. With unnecessary hits. I don't like the comeback rule because that was my favorite thing, where they come back and hit them going the other way because the defensive guys,
Yeah, they talked a lot about that. Yeah, they're taking the crackback is out,
yeah.
the loop back. I mean, that used to be part of the play. When you ran a reverse, the backside tackle would loop back and pick off the guy that
backside center did too.
And you can and now they're saying you can do certain things as long as you block above the waist and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's little cutting. I think that cutting.
They've taken cutting completely out of the game. Albert Hainsworth one time said to me, right? Albert and I did a show together for 3 years, and Albert would complain about guys cutting him, and offensive lineman cutting him. And he'd say, "Play me like a man. Play me chest to chest. That's a chicken way." I'm like, Albert, let me tell you something. I said, if I am across from you, I'm cutting your ass every time.
I wouldn't cut him every time. What you do is you cut him a couple times, and then you fake like you're cutting, and you jump up and hit them right in the mouth.
Now, post and cut, I don't like. I'm okay with them getting rid of post and cut.
Yeah,
post and cut was bad. We used to do that, though.
Stop blocking.
But I'm saying, one guy's up high, the other guy takes him out, post and cut.
Depends on how you did it. We slip blocked. I don't think there's nothing wrong with slip blocking.
But there's a difference. The difference in that combo, that kind of a combo thing. But I'm talking about it.
You're moving.
Yeah. But I mean, it wasn't. I mean,
I don't like the. Well,
in the '80s, you could literally post a guy while the other guy cut him, and they took that out of the game.
Yeah.
That used to be a. It's
still in there.
Yeah.
They're better at it.
Yeah.
They don't get a call.
And one other rule, I thought this was something they're considering this, and I thought that this was kind of interesting. They went back through every game in the SEC last season, and they looked at restarting the clock after an incomplete pass after the ball is set. But they did except for the final 5 minutes of the first and third quarter, and the final 2 minutes of the second and fourth quarter. But what they would do is incomplete pass. There's so much passing now, right? Incomplete pass, put the ball down, wind the clock. When they did that, they went back and looked at an entire season. The average SEC team had 962 plays. When they started the clock after they put the ball back in play, it dropped to 830, which was a reduction. If you look at there's 83 plays a game, it was a reduction of 1.65 games of playtime on a player's body in a 12-game regular season. And if you went to the playoff, there was a reduction of 2.5 games. So what they're saying
is they're worried about the games. They're going to save 2.5 games so they can play 2 more.
Yeah, that's. I was trying to figure this out. I'm saying, wait a minute. Yeah, and the thing is that they want the body to play 12 games in 10 games worth of plays. They're going to reduce and the guy was excited about it. I forget his name. The guy that was now the head of the SEC.
They're trying to find a way to make more money. This is about that study is about money.
Yeah, but why would you shorten? Does anybody ever really complain about the
game
amount of plays?
Goes so much faster now? It's perfect. They don't need to mess with it.
Yeah,
that does not need to happen.
They're like
that will change the game.
Well, they're saying they can get rid of 130 plays a season. And it's like, why are we spending all this time trying to get rid of plays? Now we're going to get rid of 130 plays a season by winding the clock after an incomplete pass. I mean, what the hell? Why don't we just play flag football and have a running clock?
Well,
we could really cut it right down.
There are a lot of people that would do that, too.
It's nuts.
Yeah, I know it.
All right. It's good stuff. I'm sure you guys will have plenty to talk about later on today.
Well, Alabama's here.
Yeah. Alabama Day. There's a lot going on there. All right. I appreciate you as always, man. I appreciate you. Everything you've done, too, to make this really comfortable for all of us, to be here.
Well,
and we are, we are the, I don't know if you knew this or not, we are the only radio station in North Alabama from the Mississippi border clear to the Georgia border that is here represented and bringing all this coverage to these people from SEC Media Days. There's not another station in any of North Alabama that is here.
Wow.
That's
all. I'll tell you this. It's fun to be here with people that love what they do. And you guys are doing a great job.
Yeah, appreciate you. There you go. What's neighbors? All right, we'll get a break. When we come back, we will set you up for what's going on in hour number 2. We have some Bryce Youngstown for you that we're going to get to. We got Tony Barnhart that is coming by as well. We still got a lot to get to here throughout the show. Will Anderson also was on our morning show and also spoke in the electronic room. Get all of that in right here on the Thom Abraham Show. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Ford for all your service needs. It's Woody Anderson Ford. They do such a tremendous job. Even if you don't have a Ford, they do a great job. But Woody Anderson Ford. I want to thank Steve Moulton for running us up a little plate here. We always missed lunch because I had a lunchtime show, so Steve ran a little plate here for me. And Jordan Battle is scheduled to join us here in just a few moments, so we're going to stay loose with our top-of-the-hour break back at the station. Just a, station identification coming, but we are anticipating Jordan Battle coming over and sitting down with us here for a few minutes, and we'll have a few things to talk to him about. Of course, the outstanding safety for Alabama. And Grizz, I got to ask you, do you have Bandyman running food for you? Because, Steve offered. I mean, I didn't even say, hey, Steve, go get me a plate. Steve was like, I'm going downstairs to feed. And he said, do you need anything? I said, bring me a plate, which he did, and a drink. Has Bandyman offered to feed you yet? Yeah. We had this amazing pulled pork is what we had. And then we came back with, we had some good chow. I mean, it was really good stuff, man. It was really good. So this is, we could get 2 packs of Crazy Man. There's no doubt about that. Two, just like there are two Valley equipments. All right, we're gonna spend a minute here. I tell you what, hang on to your top of the hour break. Right now, we're gonna spend a minute with Tony Barnhart, and then Jordan Battle's gonna fall out. And Tony is look, he's Mr. Football. There are guys that call themselves the King. There are guys that call me, but there's only one Mr. Football. How are you, my friend?
I'm well, Tom. Good to have you in Atlanta. Nice to have a home game for me.
Yeah.
I get to wake up in my own bed, and actually got to see my grandson yesterday, so it's always good.
It's a little bit different, the lay of the land, than Hoover. I missed the escalator going up and down. It's right there. And I think, from what I'm hearing, I don't know if it's official or not yet, I think Nashville next year.
I think Nashville's going to be in the mix. They know they need to move this event around. Nashville did. You remember the incredible NFL draft that they did several years ago, and that caught a lot of people's attention. So yeah, I like the idea of moving this.
Well, and they were
around.
2020, and they missed Nashville in the COVID year. So I think they owe I think the plan was to Nashville, and dang well that 2025. They're going to send us to Dallas. I'm telling you, they're going to send us out there because of Texas and A&M and Oklahoma. You watch. We're going to have to get on a plane and go to Dallas.
I would not doubt it at all. This is because, look, the Big 12 had their media days last week, 2 days. Mm-hmm. The Big 10's having theirs this week, 2 days. The ACC's having theirs 2 days. This is 4 days of wall-to-wall coverage, and if we did 7 days, folks would eat it up. So it's just different.
We can stay at 4 days, though, when they bring in Oklahoma and Texas, right? We can just go 4 a day. We don't have to get another day. Until they raid the ACC, we don't have to go another day.
I don't think so.
We could do 16 and 4.
I don't think so.
Just pick out SEC week. It's just going to be SEC week, right?
Absolutely.
That's what's going to happen. Tell me about the Bobby Dodd Trophy before we get too far down the line, because we do have Jordan Battle joining us. That just fell out.
I've been involved with the Dodd Trophy for about 12 years now. I was a great admirer of Bobby Dodd, the legendary Georgia Tech coach. And this is a coach, there are a lot of great Coach of the Year awards. They all recognize great coaches. This one's different. This one takes into account, obviously, wins and losses on the field, but it also takes into account academics. How do your players do academically? What do they do from a community service standpoint? What does the coach do from a community service standpoint? The pillars of scholarship, leadership, and integrity. Those were the things that were true to Bobby Dodd and his legacy. And so we just wanted to promote the Coach of the Year award. Be aware when the watch list comes out. Be aware when the Coach of the Week is named, and just know that the Dodd Trophy is a little different Coach of the Year award.
Luke Fickell is the current recipient from this past season, won the 2021 Bobby Dodd Award, and he's going to get a chance now to move into the Big 12, and it's going to be very interesting to see what he does. But what an outstanding man he is, and a great coach.
Well, and the neat thing about the award, the Dodd Award, is that we go to the campus of the recipient, where they put on a big banquet, and the coach is honored on his campus by his fans and his peers and all that. And and that makes it special too.
The list of coaches that have won this thing is just an absolute who's who. And people say, well, wait a minute, how come Nick Saban, wouldn't he be the coach of the year every year? He did win it in 2014, but as you said, there's a lot of other aspects that are in the Dodd Award versus just coach of the year and who has the best team. It's like LeBron James winning MVP. You could do that for 10 years. You could have done that every year.
Yeah, it's about the total person of the coach, not just the wins and losses on the field.
Not to throw any shade at Nick Saban, in terms of that, but there's some great recipients here. Your take, nobody's done this longer than you have in terms of knowing everything that's going on in the world of college football. Your take on where we're at, mega conferences possibly, and all of those types of things.
Well, Commissioner Sankey told us yesterday we're already a Super League, so we're not going to worry about that. I felt like Commissioner Sankey would come in here yesterday and say basically two things. One, when it comes to expansion, we're good, guys.
Right.
We're happy. We're happy at 16. We don't need to add any more teams. Looks like Notre Dame's going to stay an independent, so I don't think there's any reason for them to have more teams. I think the other thing Greg Sankey was going to say yesterday, and he did, hey, you know what? It's good to be us.
Yeah.
We're in great shape.
He did say we're nimble, though. That's what he did say nimble.
Tom, you know this. You've got to stay nimble.
Yeah, always got to stay nimble. All right, we're going to be nimble here. We got Jordan Battle standing by to join us, and it's always about the player, right? That's what I tell people all the time. It's about the games and it's about the player. So if we can talk to a player, we're going to talk to a player.
Great player, old sports writer.
Yes.
No contest.
Appreciate you so much. Always good seeing you.
Good to see you.
All right, thank you. That's Tony Barnhart. Well, it is. We've always said that. It's about that's why we step aside when the Atlanta Braves are playing. You know what I mean? It's about the game, and it's certainly about the player. And we are joined now by the Natalie-clad Jordan Battle, which really comes to the table with some pretty good game here. How are you, young man?
I'm great, man. How are you?
I am fantastic. Are you enjoying going through the car wash? Is this cool or what?
Yeah, I'm enjoying this. It's been a great experience. Some funny questions.
Yeah. There always are funny questions. This one you may or may not have been asked about, and I just learned about this, so I'm going to ask you. You can refrain or you can answer. I think you can come with a straight answer because you can't get guys in trouble anymore, right? And nowadays we can't get guys in trouble. I hear Will Anderson has a Porsche. Is that true? Does Will have a Porsche?
I think he has a Porsche.
Does he? I think he has a Porsche. I think he just told Marty and McGee that he has a Porsche. Got to be some pretty good whips running around down there at the football facility, I would think.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about when you get yourself, the way the season ended last year. You guys had a stunning win against Georgia in the SEC championship game. You're living that high. Then you turn around and boom, you got to play them again a month later in a national championship game. What was that like, that turnaround, knowing that that was a monumental thing what you did in Atlanta, now you got to do it again?
Yeah, it was a great experience for us, but I feel like we got a little too comfortable, a little too complacent. 10 minutes left in the game, we were up. We let it get out of our hands. I feel like the main thing we needed to do is to refocus that team, but I feel like we didn't do that as much as we should have. And as a leadership group, that's what we're going to try to do this year. Try to refocus the thing on the end goal, the national championship. Try to bring together everybody, make sure everybody's bought in, and create that brotherhood that we need.
Did it take a minute last year to get to identify those leaders and get that thing rolling? Because you got Bryce as a sophomore, he was starting for his first. You got Will Anderson was a sophomore. You guys were young, and it seemed like you'd lost some stud leaders from the year before. It felt like it took a minute for somebody to be identified or guys to kind of take that role.
Yeah. It for sure took a minute. We needed guys to step in that role, and it took a minute. But towards the end of the mid of the season, mid season,
you could see it.
Yeah, we had those guys that could do it. But I think by that time it was a little too late. Especially from the year before, where we had guys like Landon Dickerson, we had guys like Devontae Smith, guys like Patrick Tane who can do it. And I feel like we just had to come around as a team and just be able to be vocalized leaders. And I feel like that's the main thing we're doing this year. We're being more vocal, and the summers are going well. The younger guys came in and they're doing well as well.
Now you bring in a couple of more guys from the transfer portal, some studs on both sides of the ball. You guys got Eli Ricks in your room. They got some guys on offense that look good. The receiver looks good. The running back looks good. How do you get those guys up to speed as quickly as possible in terms of buying into the Alabama way? They think they know the Alabama way, but they don't really know Bama built until they're there. How do you get those guys up to speed?
Yeah, those guys are doing very well. Jermaine Burton's doing well. Tyler Harrell is doing well as well. Jameer Gibbs, Eli Ricks, they're all bought in. Eli's learning the playbook. He's getting acclimated very quickly. He's going out there. He's performing well in 7-on-7, and he's doing good in summer workouts. And Jameer Gibbs has also been doing very well. He's my locker mate. He's right next to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So we talk a lot.
So they don't bounce you. You guys aren't all defense and then all offense at the other end of the room. They let you guys. You're kind of.
It's a good.
That's
mixture.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good mixture for sure. I'm right next to Jameer Gibbs. We talk almost every day. We have classes together. So me and him have a great relationship.
Right.
I'm gonna have to try to talk to get more acclimated with Tyler Harrell and with Jermaine Burton as well. Been trying to talk to them as well. Me and Tyler Harrell can probably get out, go get some food. Jermaine Burton, just talk to them. Help them understand what it takes to be at Alabama, what the standard is, and I know Jermaine Burton coming from a great program as well, so he probably already has it a little bit, but. Tyler Harrell, we have to get him acclimated because he's coming from outside of the conference. He's coming to the SEC, and just letting him know what the SEC is about and what it takes to be a winner.
I'll tell you what, Jordan Battle, sitting down with us for a couple of moments here, man. You got it going on. You got it going together. That's a good job by you. So you got coached up pretty well on this, and you brought it home. So I appreciate you joining us for unfinished business, right? Unfinished business this year.
Unfinished business.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right, appreciate you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Jordan Battle, tight right there. Just brought it really, really well, and did a real nice job with that. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. These guys, I've been doing this for 18 years now. It's my 18th SEC Media Days, and these guys used to come in, and it was very difficult sometimes to get any comments out of them. First couple of comments, laying back a little bit, and then he got rolling and did a great job with that. All right, we are overtime for our top of the hour break, so we're going to let Chad fix all of that up, and then we will come back with more. Bryce Young from the Electronic Media Room. We'll take a listen to that and much, much more as we roll on here at SEC Media Days on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. made it in time. Welcome back. Second hour of the Thom Abraham Show. Glad that you guys are with us here from SEC Media Days. And today's show being brought to you by our good friends at TOC, the crew at TOC, the doc, second to none. The only answer when you need orthopedic help, it is TOC. They can take care of you and do a great job with it. That is for sure. Just made it back, Grizz. Remember I told you that the lay of the land here, it's much different than in Hoover. Yeah, everything is close. You go up, a little bit. You go up and down the elevator or the escalator. It's right there quick, and you're never more than about 15 steps from the bathroom. You know, how close are you to the bathroom? You know what I mean? Bathroom. So I'm like all the way in the back here. We're at the U. If you consider that the second level of the College Football Hall of Fame is like a U in position, so we're at the bottom of the U, if you will, which is nice where we're overlooking the room. But the problem with this is that it is 40 to 50 yards, maybe, to the bathroom, all right, from here. So, no, I don't. I got back when he was saying, am I on here? Am I on? I mean, it took a minute. I dropped that headset and went like heck. But this is the essence of SEC Media Days. In the bathroom, all right,